Yeah. Hi everybody, welcome to Juma Game Reserve this afternoon. Starting live here in the workshop because we had, that's Lucas by the way. Say hello to everybody around the world.
Hello.
In all sorts of countries.
Yeah.
America, England, Japan, Kazakhstan.
Oh.
Lucas wearing the Juma football jersey. Somebody, the soccer team. Hello Nick. Okay, we had to come into the workshop because our wonderful new tires, the front right developed a slow leak, and it seems that when you park on the tire at a certain angle it seems to be going down quicker. It was a little bit soft this morning, I ignored it, and I've been so busy with another vehicle and working on another vehicle today that I forgot to do it. Oh, we got to go and see this huge storm brewing. There's a wild wind. It's like straight out of Shakespeare's Tempest. The sky and the feel of today. It was a hot and humid day. Oh, there they are on my head. And as I was hoping from this morning, I was hoping that we were going to have an accumulation or rather a build-up of cumulus clouds. Can I say an accumulation of cumulus? And they were building up, and just before 3, they could actually see above us all the clouds knitting together, and some of them were looking dark and ominous. But the one saving grace was this wind that has come up. There's a huge wind that is, and it's not a consistent or rather persistent wind. No, consistent. Coming in from every angle. It's whirling around today. And that is because we are preceding storms. We are in an area where storms are about to wreak havoc, leash their wrath. There in the road next to that dung that's been turned over is a little green thing. Something that I wish I could have showed you this morning. By the way, my name is Mark, and Becky's on camera, Tara in final control. Welcome to our PM safari this beautiful Monday afternoon. Electrifying Monday afternoon with this kind of wind. And look at this marula tree and the way it's whistling in the wind. Actually, let's stop here for a sec. Where are you? On the green berry? No, you don't have to come to me. We can go for a wide shot, close the iris, and we can look at the storm cell that is finally, all this cloud has sort of gelled into one huge storm cell, and it is sitting just to the south of us. So we're in for something a little bit later. So I'm hoping we're going to get a good drive in this afternoon. It's already raining somewhere down in the Sabi Sand down south. If we look to the northwestern side of this huge storm cell, we can see the cotton wool clouds of this, or rather that cotton wool sort of feel of this cloud that's just touching the edge of it. I reckon this storm is pushing up into 25,000-30,000 feet. It's huge. It's big. It's gonna fill up rivers. Anyway, the little green berry, that was a marula fruit. They're fresh. They're not ripe yet. Very early for them to be falling, and they're not falling. They're actually being pushed. They're being knocked off the trees. Last night there were a number of them that were probably knocked off with a bit of hail. And when we finished the drive this morning, we came back to Paula running along without her baby. We came along to the junction with the open area and Buetela Access Road, and there was a crowd of impalas here, and they were all picking up these fallen fruits and chewing on them. And I was saying to Becky, they're all going to have sore tummies because they're eating green fruit. The fruits are at least 2 months away from being ripe. Okay, we got a very strong wind this afternoon. And as we go up onto this open area that is, it's called Quarantine. so reluctant to say the name because it just conjures up all sorts of things in people's minds. It's got nothing to do with quarantining anything right now, but it is called quarantine. That female impala, by the way, she's had a baby and she's wandering around on her own, but she doesn't have a baby with her. I'll just see her come past that terminalia now. But I reckon she's had her baby. She's on her own. She's wandering. Maybe she's left it under a bush somewhere. Could be. And that's more likely what's happened. She's going back to the herd. She's left it under a bush. Possible, I guess. Okay, let's go. Two. One. Two. The radio that talks to you.
1, 2, 1, 3, 2.
Even got an American accent. Wish you could choose. I'd rather have a female voice, like a GPS. So, look at that. I reckon places like Leopard Hills, Exeter, Dubed, Iniati, all those lodges down in the southwestern part of the Sabi Sand, I reckon they're all going to have a big one. There was a time last year, I think it was last year, it could have been the year before, we had a similar situation, and they had this freak hailstorm that wreaked so much havoc and damage that they had to put in new glass in windows and doors, and that's the kind of storm that's brewing. Preceding the storm are thermals and winds, and I can actually see a couple of eagles just hanging in the air on the edge of the storm. Unfortunately, they're so high, they're little dots in the sky. And I said this morning, I can't wait to see what the afternoon is going to bring and see if it's going to bring this build-up of cloud, and it has. I'd love to find a place where we can look out to the south and to the southwest, because this is spectacular. As the sun goes down, before it moves north and actually covers the sun, because there's a strong possibility that it's going to do that soon, that this whole storm system is going to move north, it might miss us. The area where our weather comes from, which is sort of south to southeast, it's all blue sky there right now. It was very grey an hour ago. It was very dark an hour ago. And all of this is coalesced into one huge storm cell to the southwest. And I'm not saying that it's not coming here. I don't know. It's not likely to, not usual that a storm comes from that angle. But the wind's certainly coming from there. And more than that, have you ever felt a storm wind? Have you ever felt you get Have you ever felt that, first of all, that calm that comes before the storm? When the wind stops, everything stops, the birds stop, everything stops, and you get this stillness. And then suddenly, as a storm starts brewing, you get this, what I call rain wind. It's almost like, or rather similar to the moon wind that happens when you just get the full moon rising, and suddenly, just before the moon appears, you just get this really strong, persistent wind that comes from where the moon is right. I call it a moon wind. And well, this is the rain wind, storm wind. It's all the air that this huge pressure system is pushing before it, and that's why it's not so consistent. That's why it's just coming in from every angle. But there's a good chance that's moving to the northwest, and we'll keep an eye on it. Hey, look at us. We've got blue skies and sunshine looking to the east, the southeast, and the northeast. But beautiful skies. Looking this direction, you wouldn't think that there's anything behind you. So I guess some of you have seen the news, huh? We're not talking about that today. We're doing a drive. I'm looking for things for the checklist. We're going to find Induna for starters. Across the damn wall. I'm sorry I haven't shaved. It's because I've stopped shaving. I'm not shaving anymore. I can't say I'm not cutting my hair because I haven't cut my hair for months. I mean years anyway. But I'm no longer shaving it. I figured if I'm going to be a wise old man, I can't be a wise old man in 20, 30 years time with a clean face. So I've got to start growing it now. I don't know where the wisdom will come from, but with a bit of luck in 20 years time I might gain some. It is really changing every minute, that sky. Oh, I brought you some things like a show and tell. The other day I had a rhinoceros beetle that I was going to bring you. Today I had another rhinoceros beetle that I found in the workshop because they die and then they dry. And then because insects have these perfect exoskeletons after they die, you can... Excuse me a sec. Hello Jacques, in the north you mean Voyatella or anywhere further north?
Voyatella.
How is it? I have no idea. I'm out. I haven't heard from any of the other guys. Did you get to see Induna this morning?
Yeah, I said yeah, I got a feeling very nice. Thanks a lot, man.
Okay, yeah, I'm heading there now to see what's happened. Okay, yeah, I'm also looking for Induna this afternoon. Are those all oxpeckers drinking? I think so. Hello! Waterhole cam. Impalas. Wow, it's quite a wind. I guess in a way you're lucky the mic's not working right now. Because all you would get is this howling wind. Who you on, Becky? The oxpecker. More oxpeckers in the tree. About 4 or 5, 6 of them in the mud drinking. Oh, they've just flown back. They're coming to the tree now. Okay, while we stopped, I'm going to do my show and tell. Because I couldn't bring you a beetle. But what I was doing today was I was working on, I don't know, some of you might remember Babalu. Babalu is mine now. And it's taken me about, well, I don't know how long, but months. Several months. 5 or 6 or more. To get tires and tubes and get them put onto rims and get Babalu off of its 4 wheels. Actually, it wasn't even on. What I mean is that it, for the last, I don't know how long, Babalu has been sitting on just the wheel hubs. The wheels had been taken off. We kept having to take wheels off of Babalu to put onto Gunda every time we had a flat on Gunda. And it's only really since we got the new tires, when Yuri bought the new tires for Gunda 3 months ago, that we didn't have to scrounge around. But by then all 4 wheels had already been taken off of Babalu. Babalu, by the way, is a little short wheelbase landy, very similar to mine. It's a little bit older than mine, and I'm hoping to get it out of here so that I can do something with it, because my landy needs a few transplants and I can use some innards and things from, I've already taken the carburetor, the distributor from Babalu, and I'm hoping to use the chassis maybe in the leaf springs. Anyways, for the first time in months, Babalu is sitting on 4 wheels, 4 tires, 4 good wheels today. But I moved one of the wheels and I found something for you, and it's something that maybe some of you won't really relate to, but some of you might remember some time ago, and it's probably only referring to one drive that I had where I was showing you perfect little circles cut out of leaves of a certain plant, and I'm hoping that maybe I can find you some more. And I was telling you that it's the leaf cutter bee, and the leaf cutter bee cuts those little circles out of the leaf, and they stick them together to form a tube, and inside that tube they make a paste with nectar and pollen. It's a beautiful yellow, very thick yellow paste, and that becomes the food for their larvae, and inside that tube they lay an egg. And what I found, moving those wheels stuck to the underside of, oh, it's broken, and this is one that's about 2 inches long. Maybe, where can I put it? There, I'll hold it there on the mic. No, better not on the microphone. Let me just hold it here. This was a lot longer than this, but it's broken into several pieces. There's another. No, that's a separate one, by the way, because I can see that's where it started. This is the leaf cutter bee, and these are all perfectly round. Oh, I'm knocking some of them off. Perfectly round pieces of leaf that this bee has sewn together. Well, not sewn together, using saliva, stuck these leaves together and made a tube. I'm going to show you from the front now. Unfortunately, I can't see what Becky's showing you, but hopefully you're with me, yeah? You can see how it's even used one of those perfectly round little leaves as a stopper, and you'll find that right throughout this tube, every quarter inch or so are some of those stoppers, and they're all little chambers, and in each chamber is a certain amount of paste, a certain amount of this food source that the bee, and it's a solitary bee, that she leaves behind for her larva. Incredible maternal instinct. Anyways, these are the tubes of the leaf cutter bee, and I'm sorry to tell you that this is probably one of the most fantastic things that I've ever seen in nature. A little insect like a bee that can cut her little round pieces of leaf and stick them together to make this tube. And well, I'm going to keep these safe in the hope that eventually the adult bees are going to emerge. It's easy enough saying I'm going to keep them safe. It's another matter of finding somewhere where they're not going to get squashed to keep them safe. But I had to show you that, because I'm sure there might be at least one or two of you out there that remembers me talking about the leaf cutter bees, one of my favorite bees. They don't make a honey, by the way. Does it really matter, Jean? Henry, come in. Hi, M4. Is it only you driving, or who else is driving today? Okay, copy. Yeah, I'm on the damn wall. I'm heading towards Induna. I'm going to go check him out. Please let me know if there's any Endlov anywhere, or in Konzo. Sorry, Tara. Check what? Yeah, well, maybe the foam. No, foam is fine. If you're getting a lot of wind in the microphone, it is because it is very windy today. And I'm sure if anybody's on the Juma waterhole cam, that tree is probably swaying. I mean, just look at this marula tree. Actually, Becky, you might even be able to zoom in on a couple of fruits up there. Fruits, marula fruits. Amongst the leaves, but perfect opportunity to sit and listen to the wind because we're sitting in the spillway of the dam and the wind is mostly blowing above us. We still got a little bit of wind, but it is howling up there in the branches of that marula tree. And with such a strong wind, I don't know what we're going to see this afternoon. But I'm hoping we're at least going to see Induna. And then straight afterwards, we are going to try and follow that group of elephant that were at Buffelshoek Dam this morning and see where they went to. Because I've got to tell the elephants what's happening. It's all very well that we drive around and we look for the big and hairy and toothy things that are the exciting animals here at Juma. The lions, the leopards, the elephants, the buffalo, etc, etc. Excuse me a second. Becky, every now and then, if you could just sort of keep track of what the storm is doing. It has changed somewhat since we were last looking at it. It has moved a little bit closer. Looking at the perhaps the northern edge of it, gosh, this wind is strong. And this is the wind that is being pushed by the storm cell. But you can see how well defined the top of this anvil or this mushroom of cloud is to the northwest of it. We're not going to go very far from camp today, he says, thinking of going up to Buffelshoek Dam. I want to find those elephants. Elephants are not going to be too accommodating in this wind. Everything is going to be nervous. I'm hoping I'm not going to lose my hat. I don't need these anymore. It's going to be devastating leaving this property. It's going to be devastating leaving things I've watched for 3 years. I can only begin to imagine what Peter must have felt when he left, because he was the only one before me that had spent so much time here. Not being able to see this jackalberry again. I know of jackalberry. I don't have any jackalberries as big as this. I've got a couple of nice jackalberries. But this is a very special jackalberry. At least that jackalberry is not going anywhere. I can always come back and look at it. Other things that are going to be heartbreaking. And because of that, we're going to try and get through the next 2 weeks not thinking about anything. Sorry, what's that, Tara? Okay. Now, clunk. Sorry, Glenda. JB, hello. We are on Gari Katlan and we are heading straight to Induna, to the kill area. Do not pass go, do not collect 200. That is where we're going. It's our best bet on such a windy afternoon. He's the only thing that's likely to be I'd say about a 90% surety that he's still there. And just by the way, just to let you know that the initial blog that came out about our demise we're saying the end of November, but unfortunately plans were made because we were all thinking that we were coming back for another 6-week stretch, and we planned things based on our 6-week cycle, which ended on about the 24th of this month. So unfortunately we've got about 10 days left. A very hard 10 days. Anyways, I was saying earlier that a lot of you viewers tune in to see a lot of the big stuff, the elephants and the lions and the buffalo and not rhino anymore, but the leopards and the giraffe and the hippos and, all the big animals. And 99% of the time you see these big animals and all they're doing really is just... But we had to do a mini safari now in the summer months where we were just able to take a camera of a 100 meter stretch of bushveld and only look at little things like leafcutter bees and parasitic wasps and busy ants, and the list is endless. Do you know that it would be far more exciting to see all these little creatures because they live such intense little lives? I'm not supposed to have caffeine. I got that taurine iron. So here's the knobthorn if we're not breaking up. Here's the knobthorn where Induna was at first, where Becky found him this morning. The whole world can thank Becky for seeing him today. But it was Becky who spotted him, and it wasn't an easy spot. He was standing behind that potato bush, that spike thorn. How are we looking, Tara? Oh, we just come back. I was saying, as we were approaching, that everybody can thank Becky for this leopard sighting today. And it wasn't an easy spot at the base of that knobthorn. There are a couple of bushes that were in the way. Just to my right here, there's the carcass straight ahead of us. He's pulled it out of the shade from this worry bush. Tex, come in. Guys, move the Nyama. Nyama's just here in front of me. Let me know if you get in visual. Sure. He's eaten a lot of the inside here. He's left a lot of the really good meaty bits, like the legs, like your... straight ahead of us. Behind the potato bush. But is that him? Yeah, it is him. Got a view of him?
Yeah.
Because I could try and move. He's also nervous because of this wind. Induna, where you going, boy? I think every animal, it doesn't matter what animal it is, even lion can. Well, welcome back everybody. We had a bit of a power cut back in FC. Ow! Becky and I'm parked in a place where both of us are getting thrashed by the sharp thorns of acacias. The storm system has changed considerably. It's time for him to feed again. Can you see him though? Clearly. We've got stuff in the way. I can move forward a bit. Get us both out of these howling acacias. Good?
It's going to be in the way.
And if I go back?
You need to go forward.
No, man.
That's fine.
We're going to need to move because Tex needs to come in. Tex, come in. Good visual from here. I'm just going to take a few shots and then I'll move. Okay, copy. This wind is intensifying and so is the storm. Goes up. Sorry, wind's making a noise. So go again. He's just dragged the carcass off a little bit. There's visual for one mover here at the moment. Not too bad, but he's very nervous with this wind. I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to last out here, folks. So I have to be honest with you. I'm not going to go anywhere. We're not going to see anything else right now. If there are elephants out there, they're going to be tucked in thick bush and they're going to be just as nervous. But I'm looking at the south and the southeast of us, southwest, and it's getting quite threatening. But for the time being, since it's only us and I don't have to share this, we're going to stay here. This is Induna with an incredible kill of his female impala. I'm going to try and take this mic off of the dashboard and try and hide it a little bit lower, and I'm going to put it here next to me. I don't have to speak so loud, and I'm hoping, Tara, do you think this makes any difference? Okay, well basically I'm shielding the mic from the wind with my body, and hopefully it's a lot better. Thanks Sharon in Pittsburgh for your email. Glad you remember me talking about those leafcutter bees. If I can think of a word to describe this afternoon, I would say tempestuous. Becky, can we scan quickly again to the sky? Because now we're starting to see these cumulus starting to build up underneath this 30,000 foot mushroom. Pardon? Oh, that tree. Okay. Storm clouds. I'd say it's probably about half an hour away. To be revised soon. When the wind starts dropping, that's when we need to start worrying.
I will come up with Induna, but not in a hurry. They are slowly going there.
The strangest thing is, with all this wind, I'm hearing a lot of crickets and katydids and insects calling, almost as though it was nightfall. Shark, come in. Oh, he's calmed down a bit. He's feeding now. It's the wind that's making him nervous, not the vehicles. I think now that he's feeding, he should be fine. Perhaps one of the creatures, I'm going to look at that bloody face. Can you look? I didn't have my camera ready, Induna. Can you do that again? Well, for those of you that are starting your morning on a Monday morning, I guess it's quite a way to start a Monday. Pity I missed that shot when he was looking at us. You got a fairly clear shot through that little gap. ahead. I'll pull out. You can come where I am. That's the only view of him. Okay, we're gonna, because there's this little sort of avenue of bushes to see him, we're gonna move on and let the other vehicles come in and show the guests. Induna, take care. What we can do, we might come back later. I can't believe how the sky is changing, because now, well, let's get out onto the road. What was so much to the southwest has actually swung more to the east, and it's actually aiming more for us than it ever was a whole lot. Is y'all coming? Never mind, I thought you saw where I was. Okay, I'm just going back to more or less where he is, and then if you can come up from this dead nod storm behind me, if you can come up in the same direction as me, you'll get a better view. Yeah, curve. There's a little gap in the cookie that you can see it. I'm gonna wait until the dark gets closer and then start moving on. Hello, little spike thorn. Did I say tempestuous? Did I use the word tumultuous? Okay, I didn't need to go over the location. I managed to get in there without driving over the location. Jane, how long will you be able to eat on that carcass without getting sick? He'll eat until it's finished and he still won't get sick. That's because the microphone's on the ground. Oh, solo mio. Okay, let me maybe not pretend to do opera and see where I'm driving. No, I'd put the microphone on the ground or ground on the that's why. Is y'all coming? Dam.
Sorry, go again.
Did you come past Buffalo's Dam?
Yeah, I'm from Balaji. I haven't come up to the dam.
Okay, thanks. Station's leaving lock of Ingwe with Bomba. Shark on lock, space for 2.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, I'm on chat. I would love to come enjoy. Yeah.
Okay, all yours, I'm for.
Thank you.
La na 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 na. Okay, let's get through the. Oh, it looks like the road was graded. I mean, scraped again. Vicky, how does it feel to be responsible for the joy of so many people being able to photograph a leopard on a kill? Pretty special, good.
My grandpa's watching today as well. It's his birthday. So
Ah, okay. What's his name?
92 today. Eric.
Eric. 92. Take my hat off to you, Eric. I don't take my hat off very often, but Eric, happy birthday. 92. I'll be lucky if I can reach 52. And you got 40 years on me. But then plus the years that I'm not there yet, near 52. But yeah, I will be lucky if I can even reach 52. Heard of Impala that are nervously running in the same direction that we are, just ahead of us. Not running because of us, running because of the wind. They're very nervous. I don't know if I did. I'm electrified by what. Oh, that. Yeah, Jane. Sorry. I'm just so energized by what's brewing down south. Now that we're back in the sort of area where we can see it, it has changed considerably. It's almost like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's almost like a storm explodes together again. Big thing to this black screen. To once again a very black screen. Sorry. Wait till you're back. Come back. Are we back again? It's recollected itself into this very distinct saucer-shaped front. What can we call it? Mushroom, anvil, storm cell, flying saucer. Thing is though, there's so much wind, not much can happen with all this wind, but this wind is preceding what is coming. When the wind drops, then we've got to start worrying. But for the time being, we are safe enough to be exploring the northeastern regions, like Buffelshoek Dam. I'm going to follow maybe Guaripan Road. See if we can find out where these Tembo have gone. But yes, Jane, will he eat? As far as that question was concerned, even though they gorge themselves, they don't get sick from it, because they will constantly be digesting, and you'll go to the toilet and make a little bit of room for more. They're able to eat the meat when it starts going off, even after 3 or 4 days, even longer. Their stomach juices are able to withstand, I suppose, even the smelliest and most vile of meats. Good afternoon. How's it, Ryan?
Just one down on
don't have to talk to Ryan, as Henry's talking to him. I'm not too sure what you meant by will he get sick, or I'm not too sure what you were meaning by your question, but whether the meat gets so bad to make him sick, or whether he gorges himself to make him sick. Neither really happens. I have seen though animals that eat too quickly, and even your domestic cat that gets so hungry, and when it gets to food it sort of gorges itself and then it just eats too quickly that it vomits it all up. In fact, I remember when Induna, I think it was Induna, it was both Mission Induna and Karula, walking along Nyala Road North one evening, and in that dip where the fig tree is strangling the leadwood, one of them jumped off of the road. I think it was Mishu actually, can't remember. But one of them jumped into the grasses on the edge of the road and caught a francolin just out of the blue and gobbled it up so quickly that as soon as he came back onto the road it just brought it all up again, and there was just this masticated francolin in the road. Right, we have almost white horses waves on the dam, Buffelshoek Dam. I see the geese entering the water. 2, 4, 6, 7. 1, 2, Mom, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and Dad. It's nice to know all the goslings are safe. Now we can see those clouds. Wow. Have you been there already? Close that iris and just look at those clouds. If we could do time-lapse photography on that, it would be quite incredible. But what was in the southwest earlier has swung over and it's now in the southeast. Even though it's retreated somewhat, because now the western sky is bright, the southwestern sky is bright. Everything to the north of us is clear blue. And if anything, it looks like this whole system is retreating, but I think it's going back for reinforcements, because that's where it all comes from. Some of those lower patches of cloud give an indication that there's hail. The fact that this morning I saw such high cloud up in the stratosphere that consists mostly of ice crystals tells me that there's a strong possibility that there are hailstorms coming. But those low patches of saucer-like clouds, those tell me too that there's hail amongst that storm system. And now the wind coming straight from there towards us. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that quite closely. The fact that it has swung to the southeast from the southwest means that it might actually move north on our eastern sky, and it's now swinging over Kruger as opposed to the western side of the Sabi Sands. I mean, it's super incredible to see such rapid weather changes, and you can only really see this where you've got a big sky. You're on the goslings?
Yeah, I'm just on a wide shot now.
Maybe you can get that bird on next to the water, because of that's one that's drinking. I don't know if I have it on my list. I don't know with Seb. I don't know how we're going to reconcile this whole list thing, because suddenly the dynamics have changed. What is that bird? Did I say its name?
No, I said that bird.
I was just thinking, maybe I said, can we see that? Not thinking that I didn't want to say its name. Other thing we have to look out for, and I'm not going to be able to, I was hoping to be the first one to show it to you, but maybe I'll have to leave that to Tara. That was the woodland kingfisher. I think one or two have been seen already. high time we saw one. It's normally now that they start coming in. So that bird is a dot 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 strikes. There, that one. I haven't ticked it off, so I don't know. I might have got it, and that's because there's been a lot of things that I've been seeing that I haven't kept up to date with the list the way Tara has. Tara has been quite diligent, quite, what's the word? Quite good about it all. It's quite strange. It's almost as though this whole storm is receding, wind dropping. Where we started a little while ago with maybe 30% of the sky being blue and mostly cloud, we've now kind of changed things. Now there's maybe 10% of the sky that's cloud and 90% that is blue, but the wind is still howling. If you manage to see that bird, let me know what it is for my checklist, and let's carry on. Let's do Quarry Pan Road, because maybe that's where those pachyderms went. Season's greetings to the giver. Always awkward maneuvering around this log. That's supposed to block a path where I've been, so that I can't go where I've just been. But I managed to anyway. Sure. Maybe it's retreating to gather its forces to strike us again at night the way it did last night, because we don't have much of a defense. Nobody's keeping it at bay. Oh, so you didn't hear me there. Hello everybody, back again. Camera malfunction. Hello Janine. Janine in Houston. Thank you for your email. Janine used to live in Oklahoma. Of course, we all know Oklahoma's Tornado Alley. Janine saying, well aware of the calm before the storm. And if the sky turns green, what else? Be well aware. Be very wary. But no, we've had one in all my life of the low felts. I've experienced one storm that came anything close to a tornado, and I reckon it was a mini tornado based on the destruction that it wrought in the path that it followed. And that was a few months ago. Pete Bright was here, and the two of us were busy in the workshop trying to fix things on the jigger, and suddenly this thing came in, and it was so strong it bent aerials and antennas on the mast, and it destroyed our internet, and we were down for a while. And we were standing in the carport of the workshop, and we had as strong a rain coming in sideways as it was falling down vertically, as well as hail and rivers of ice cold water that was flowing. There are some areas of South Africa that have experienced tornadoes or the equivalent thereof. One of the worst was in an area called Welkom a number of years ago, where it was pretty bad. But this is retreating. This is actually getting it, for some strange reason, is sinking lower and lower in the south. And I don't know if it is retreating to gather strength. We shall see. Hello, Gail. Gail wants me to estimate how much the Impala would have weighed versus Induna's weight, and what is the sort of biggest ratio. I think that's what. I think that's where you're going with your question, Gail. I have stood back in awe at the sheer size of the animal, because even though I've had lion right next to me living, it's not quite the same thing when you have this sleeping animal, this neurologically challenged creature lying at your feet. I've been involved in rhino capture, where I've been one of 20 people trying to encourage, I suppose that's not the right word, but let's use it for now, encourage a slightly drugged and very irate adult male white rhino into a crate where 20 of us men couldn't really do much to help encourage him. But other than that, I've hardly ever felt the weight, the feel, the texture. I haven't had physical contact with creatures. So it's all very well to read in a book that an animal weighs such and such. It's an average. It's easy enough to see individuals and say, okay, well, that's sort of looking like an average sized individual. That particular individual looks a little bit bigger than average, or that's a little bit like Karula. I'd say Karula is a little bit below average in terms of the size of an adult female leopard, and the number of adult female leopards that I've seen in my life. But it doesn't help me sort of guess what her weight is. 40, 50 kilograms, I don't know. Because weight is not necessarily all muscle, and it's got a lot to do with a little bit of body fat, but it's also got a lot to do with bone structure. But to perhaps answer the question, I've seen some remarkable things when it comes to leopard. I think one of the most incredible things I've ever seen is a big male leopard that took a young giraffe, obviously a newborn. I couldn't tell how old it was. It's not easy to sort of gauge the age of a giraffe when it's hanging 20 feet in a tree. But what you can sort of conclude from that is that it's a very big leopard, to be able to take a young giraffe up a tree. And leopard are known to be able to take twice their own body weight up a tree. Okay, so no sign of my pachyderms yet. We're going to do central. No, let's go up this way first. She cheetah cut line. Maybe come back down Central Road. I don't know. One of those days, there's a flower. I'm going to say I'm hoping to find a flower or something. This is a different albizia, by the way. Only a little flower. I don't know which one you want to get, Becky, but that one?
Yeah.
A little bit of light coming through it. It is a flower. It doesn't have any petals, but it is a flower. Common false thorn, I think this is. It's not the same as the big broadpod false thorns that we've been seeing down in the drainage lines. I think this is just the common false thorn. Albizia, I forget. The leaves are not fully formed, so it's hard for me to tell. But even then, even if I counted the leaflets, I still wouldn't be able to correlate it with what is in my memory banks regarding the configuration of the leaves of the common false thorn. But I think this is a common false thorn. Called a false thorn because the leaves are very acacia-like, the flowers are somewhat acacia-like, and it belongs to the same family as the acacias. So the mimosoid, what is the family now? I think it's been changed. Caesalpinoid, no. I'll think of it, or I'll look it up. Okay. Onward her. Are you ready already? And it's called a false thorn because a lot of them look like acacias, but they don't have thorns, and that's why it's called a false thorn. And they're very closely related to the false thorns. Leguminosae, or the legumes, somewhere along the line, that's part of the family. Same family. Sure. Is this wind to your satisfaction? It's cool. It's quite a chilly wind, actually. It's almost like coming from snow. Quite a cold wind. Okay. I think the threat is over for this evening, for now, because this is really retreating. This whole storm front that was about to envelop us has actually retreated to the southeast. That's not such good news because it means it's going to hit us later tonight, maybe, like it did last night. Let's hope it doesn't knock out power, and let's hope that we can still wake up tomorrow morning and things are back to normal. Cheetah cut line.
Strange how it's just changed.
It is, eh? I mean, if I have to, I don't know how you're gonna, because I can't see, I don't have a monitor. But earlier on, if I have to say, right now we've got this little storm cell that is now not even 2% of the sky. Huh?
Doesn't really look like that.
No, it doesn't look like anything anymore. But when we started this earlier, 80% of the sky was covered by that very same storm front. And
But
it's,
it was going to be coming our way, hey?
yeah, it looked like it. And now it's almost like it's been just sort of sucked south.
See what it's going to spit out.
Well, that's just it, you see, is that it's like it was stretching its tentacles out to the north and it just wasn't getting anywhere because of all of the wind. So it sort of pulled all its energy back. It's conserving its energy, and as soon as it cools down, when the sun goes down, it's just going to go kaboom. Suddenly, very cool wind blowing. I was very optimistic, thinking it was going to be warm until the evening fell. but I do have something to put on. Just in case. Any changes for this afternoon? Guess not.
No changes, Mark.
Thanks, Henry. Didn't we get any answers for that bird that was drinking water? Maybe it didn't last very... How long was it on camera? At Buffalo Dam, drinking water. I've just been told. Keith saying Birchall's. Thanks, Lynn. Lynn, Alaska, Canada. Birchall's, darling. It was indeed. Okay, let me try something new. We're on Cheetah Cut Line. We have just passed Central Road, heading south. I'm happy to take any direction from any of you viewers out there who are following the map. We're approaching anywhere on Cheetah Cut Line going south. What road do you want me to take? Hornbill, 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 Lark. Lark, Swallow, Swallow, Oriole, Mousebird, Kingfisher. Must be after that. Oriole, Babbler, Thrush, Robin, Warblers, Sticklers, Flycatchers, Shrikes, there we go, Starlings, Birchills, but I've got it on, oh no, maybe I ticked it off when we were at the dam. Thanks everyone. Let's find it something else too. Now every time I go to somebody else's property, whether it's Arathusa, Chitwa Chitwa, I see so many certain reptiles on trees, and yet here it's almost like trying to find a diamond, trying to find this particular reptile that lives on a tree. I'm not going to say its name because I do want to find one, but I think I've got very slim chances this afternoon. Wow. Quite an icy wind blowing. Wala ba man? Iya bo? Ah, true. Let's have a vote. Since it's so windy and there's not much happening out here today. It's going to be even. Donna and Raisa saying Central. Okay. Short thing, Donna and Raisa. We have passed Central Road, but I was about to say, funnily enough, there's not much happening this afternoon on account of this wind, and I have to tell you that this wind is rather chilly. Strangely so. I mean, it's almost as though there's like snow on the mountains in the Cape or something. You are right for November. But I'm going to head south just over that little ridge, the other side of Leadwood Road Junction on Cheetah Cut Line. We're just going to have a look, see what's on that side. We're going to make our way along Drakensberg Drive back north towards Central, then we'll take Central Road back. And you know what I think? Since everybody's left in Induna and it's getting late, there's a strong possibility that maybe your Don might come along or anybody else. And so I'm thinking, let's just go back to Induna, find ourselves I'll try and position ourselves that we shield the microphone by the wind, or rather from the wind, and we'll see what he's up to. This is really unusual. It's so atypical. Where's your baby, Mrs. Marla? There's an Impala female that's running away. That clearly has had her youngster, and if she was pregnant, I didn't see whether she had. Didn't see whether she had lactating mammaries. Mammaries, not memories. So we're going to make our way back to Central Road. This whole thing is retreated way to the south, but it's actually gathering force in the southeast. It was there in the southwest, and it's unusual. I can't say that I've ever seen this before. But so far, it's not a green sky. It's still blue. Zebra over here. Okay, nothing on this little open area, but that doesn't really surprise me yet. Oops. Okay, let's go back to Drakensberg. Drakensberg Drive, Drakensberg Road, Drakensberg View. Although I'm not going to be able to show you the mountains because it's very hazy, and already this time of day, after stifling heat, I've got to put something on while there's still sunshine. It's like unheard of, and I'm starting to regret not bringing something warmer. One of my long sleeve t-shirts. Oh, you're cold. I don't want to hear that you're cold.
I'm appreciating it.
Yeah, appreciating. Becky's battling a little bit with the heat. It has been hot and humid, and it's all very well for those of us that are used to it. But I think this is more like your temperature. This is more like comfortable for you. And funnily enough, I put the aircon on over there, see for you.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna freeze tonight.
You're gonna freeze tonight. Becky is using the room that I lived in for my first year, and it's not called the dungeon for nothing. And in winter it's this ice cold hole, and in summer it's this hot little. Yeah, nothing gets as hot as my sauna where I live, but Not much air movement in the dungeon because it's just off of old FC. But there is a big fan in FC, one of those ceiling fans, and there's an old aircon in FC, old FC, that makes, I don't know what, actually that's Leadwood Road. We don't want to go Leadwood Road, we want to go Drakensberg because we have to go to Central Road. I don't know what's worse, is trying to sleep in the heat or trying to sleep with that incessant noise of an air conditioner. Maybe you can sleep with the noise of an aircon.
Yeah, I think after the past 3 nights, I'm going to noise.
Okay. Becky is happy to have the noise over the heat of the last few nights, 3 nights. But it is, or rather has been, stifling. It's one of those warm evenings that you might know of if you come from Florida or some of the Gulf states, or I don't think, I have to be honest, even throughout the whole of Californian summer, I never felt it in California. But where the heat is tight, where you just don't want to move, and you lie there and you sweat, and you actually lie in your own sweat, and it's actually quite pleasant because your sweat cools the sheets down. And you don't really want to be with a partner because you don't want to, it's just body contact is just too hot. And Becky's been battling, even taking to curling up on the couch in old FC under the ceiling fan. Me, I can handle it. It's my temperature. It's my preferred season. Sorry, my hair's a bit of a mess today because I was swimming most of the day, and I didn't end up going for a shower and washing it. So my hair's untidy. Haven't shaved for a couple of days because I'm growing it out. If I can't be wise, at least I can look wise. I don't know, is a grey beard a mark of distinction and wisdom? Could it be? But it is going grey. That's encouraging. Just north of us now, way north of us. There's a big cumulus cloud building up. What's encouraging is that what? Oh, it's got a full crop too. An eagle. Wahlbergs. Well done, Becky. Oh, yeah. 2 of them that just flew behind her. They must have just caught something in the last couple of hours. Had a full crop. Easy to see full crops in the air, and I'm glad it changed the subject. Well, I was going to say that cloud up in the north, that means that it might build up a little bit of a storm to rain over my place in the Timbavati, because that's where I live, straight north of us. And that's encouraging, seeing storm clouds there. This is a much higher rainfall area than up north in the Timbavati. In fact, you could say that the southern Sabi sand is twice the rainfall of the northern Timbavati. Annual rainfall. Mumba Road Junction. Wow. That storm has now retreated so far to the south. In fact, it's now more or less, it's almost east. It's so far east of southeast. I don't think I've ever seen a storm suck so quickly that far. But that means that there's a pressure system that has done that. And it's likely to sort of rebound double what it was earlier. But at least it gives us a free afternoon to explore Tuma Game Reserve. Did you see if that other eagle was paler than the one we saw?
No.
It was the same.
The yellow came to land until I saw it and it flew off.
I just thought maybe it was the same pair we had this morning. I'd say we've got about 3 pairs of Wahlbergs here. The strange thing is that I haven't seen the pair of Wahlbergs that nest around Gowrie Dam. Crunch. Okay, I'm approaching Central Road now, as requested. First I've got Batelier Road coming up on the left. This is Batelier Road junction going to the west. And our next junction will be Central Road. We'll head west on Central Road. And since I don't think anybody's there, let's go back to Induna and see what he's up to. There's only so much we can see of the wind blowing through the trees. And at least a leopard in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. I haven't seen any sign of those pachyderms. You know what? Before we go back to Induna, actually, just by the by, I did say I was going to do Central Road. Let's go. Let's continue. What was that? I saw a shadow. Oh, there's that eagle. There is an eagle flying there just in the sun. But I saw a shadow come across us. And it is an eagle flying in right in front of the sun. Central Road. Yeah, this is Central Road. However. Okay, no however. Right, let's do Central Road. I can't renege on a promise. I mean, or a promise. Didn't promise, but can't renege on a deal. Said, tell me a road. Hold Central Road, let's do Central Road. Who knows, might be pachyderms here. I was just thinking, let's go past Rippleshoek Dam, but nah, let's do Central Road as requested. West into sunset. Pardon? Yeah. We'll see if we can get it from west of the tree. There is a large bird in this tree. Large bird that I would like to... Oh, it's a nice large bird that I would like to use for the list. In fact, there we go. That might be good enough. Are you too high to... Yeah. quite interesting actually. My, what a red face you have. Okay, for my checklist. But now I'm actually going to have to take a little bit of a stroll around the bush here quickly, because this means that there's something here. And I'm going to put my shoes on for this because there's a lot of knob thorn. Shoes. Not really much of a shoe. Excuse me a sec. Bird might fly away. I think we've got a good look at it, yeah? Okay, be back in a sec. Yeah, I just did a wide circle, more or less this the same radius around this tree. See if I could see anything, see if anything would growl at me, or attack me, or eat me. Sorry to tell you this, I'm still here. Nothing attacked me, nothing ate me, and quite sadly nothing growled at me. A bird like that, quite often that particular bird sitting in a tree like that for a reason. 99% of the time that reason is because there's a predator. This time of the year it could be sitting there because something's giving birth and it's waiting to eat after birth. But I was hoping that maybe I'd find something. Now, unlike some of its cousins that can sit even 200-300 meters away from a potential meal, that particular bird tends to sit as close as possible to it because it's got to get to it very quickly before some of its bigger cousins. So I did a sort of a particular radius around that big knobthorn and couldn't see anything. Maybe it was just sort of getting ready to roost for the night. In which case I'm going to feel guilty for the next week because I disturbed it. But it's still daylight and we can find another roost spot, so it's not too bad. It's not the end of the world. So if anybody knows what that bird was, no, because I didn't have my earpiece in. Lisa, Nicola, Cardiff, Joanne, Arizona. And Lynn, hello Lynn. Again. Hooded vulture, indeed. A hooded vulture. What's nice to see is that cumulus that was building up in the north, and I'm saying I was hoping it's going to rain on the part of the Timbavati where home is actually turning into an anvil. Quite promising. Big storm up north. Hooded vulture indeed. The smallest of the vultures. A vulture that is normally dominated by other vultures at a carcass, and it has to get there fairly early so that it can eat the soft parts of the carcass before all the big brutes come in, like white-backed and ripples and lappet-faced, even white-headed can dominate over the hooded. But you know, I've seen hooded vultures following predators. I've seen hooded vultures that practically live with a pack of wild dogs. Wherever the pack of wild dogs are, the hooded vultures are there, because they know when the pack starts moving. And you see, the hooded vultures don't fly very high. They've got to fly low because they've got to be there quickly. They've got to be there when the kill is made to get scraps and to get the things. Because once the big vultures, like the white-backed vultures and the lappet-faced vultures, who are the bigger, more common vultures, when they come in, and of course can't forget the marabou storks, they just push these poor children out of the way. Now, what is that bird in the tree there? Isn't that gardenia? Can you see? Well, there's the one on the right and there's one on the left, but it's the one on the left that's the special one, with a lot of birds shouting at it right now. Please, can you, huh? You got him?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got the one with the black head on the right, because we saw it drinking the other day, where we had the hyenas bathing in the water coming out of the...
That's crazy. At the back of his head. It's
got
like,
false eyes.
that's crazy. I've
Yeah.
never seen that before.
It doesn't matter which way it's looking,
Yeah.
there are eyes. So this is a special one for me too. Thanks for the hooded vulture, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a special child to look at. And as Becky was saying, you can see those beautiful yellow eyes looking at us now. But when it turns its head, it's got a pair of false eyes on the back of its head to fool all the birds, so that they can't really attack it, because you don't attack anything that's looking at you. When you're a small bird, you attack it from behind. And any time that you've seen us with eagles and other birds that are being mobbed by drongos, funny, speaking of the devil, there's an eagle flying behind this false marula just here that's got a drongo bombing it on its head. We're not going to get it on camera though. But it can't be mobbed because the birds, I'm sure by now, after so many years, they've figured it out, which are the real eyes. But anyways, they don't mob this bird as much as they do when it's in flight, because when it's in flight, at least then they kind of know which way its head is turned, and you don't see the false eyes when it's in flight. You only see the false eyes when it is perched. But a truly spectacular specimen of a gardenia, and really beautiful light to see this bird. It's late afternoon sunlight. We're a little bit sheltered here, so the wind isn't blowing as much. Have you got the bird on the right that's complaining so much? Okay, that will be number 2. 1 and 2. Not 1 and 2 of the drive, but 1 and 2 of this particular moment after the hooded vulture. So first, the bird that's being shouted at, and then secondly, the bird that's doing a lot of the shouting. Hello, Janina. 2 vultures and eagles mate for life. Pretty much so, yeah. Pretty much, they do. Ah, such gorgeous eyes. And that little spot of golden light that we had a minute ago is now faded. When you out here in the bush and you're doing photography or you're taking photographs, there's that brief moment in late afternoon just prior to sunset when you get this golden glow, and then the sun gets a little bit too low and that moment is gone. It's such a fleeting moment. And we had it a minute ago on that particular bird, but now light's starting to fade. Thank you, Heather. Pearl spotted owl. And Keith in Cardiff. Keith, quite the birder, huh? We got another birder to compete with the rest of our birders. We should have a birding competition between Cardiff and the Netherlands and Canada. And Brian and Heather in the UK. Pardon?
You see where he went?
No, I was looking away.
Yeah, I didn't know.
But it sounds, because of the squirrels and other birds that are shouting behind us, I think it flew that way. But that one, black-eyed bulbul, Lynn in Canada and Nicola in Cardiff. But we have a following in Cardiff. What's the football team in Cardiff?
No.
You don't know? Becky,
Follow football.
you don't follow football. Okay, I'm just going to curl around this because I want to show another flower in that tree. And actually most of that tree is covered in this plant that is producing this flower, that one up there. And you can actually hardly see the original tree because It is so covered. I think it was leadwood. I have to be honest with you, it's hard to tell what the original tree was. It was a buffalo thorn. The original tree is a buffalo thorn, but 90% of the tree is covered in this creeper that has these beautiful flowers, big woolly flowers. And I showed it to you the other day. And it's one of the capers. The woolly caper bush. Caparissa. I like that name. Actually, Caparissa. The woolly caper bush. Not capers that you can use when you're cooking fish, because the cultivated caper is different, but it's still a Caparissa. Actually, I don't know if you could use this one. Okay, please say that again. Aha.
Calling me, Jack? I don't have any large here. Five. But I'm not sure. I left them. One was lying down and one was come down.
They're trying to relocate lion in the north. Rafi, Shalom, Chaverim, Chaveri, Erev Tov, ומה שלומך? אני יופי, תודה. הכל בסדר. Rafi wanted to know, do I think that the human stomach could ever adapt to eating the likes of a predator's diet, uncooked meat, etc., etc.? No, Rafi, it would take some time. It would, for the our lives are so full of antibiotics and all sorts of things that have rendered our stomachs so weak that even the slightest hint of a molecule of something untoward in water gives us the runs. Even the slightest hint of bacteria affects our flora in our stomach to the point where we get sick. So short of and I'm speaking mostly about westernized humans, you know, if we have to look at the likes of some of the indigenous peoples of some countries that are still, or rather as yet, unwesternized, I think yes, there are some humans that could handle it. And there's a lot of evidence that points towards the fact that we were more as primates before we became modern humans. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that we were more insectivorous, fruit eaters, seed eaters, a long time ago. Oh, 4 birds just flew by, and I wish I could have caught, but they've gone too far. But it was perhaps through natural fires and through droughts and things that we started looking towards other sources of food, and maybe finding burnt carcasses after a fire, or stealing kills from predators, that we turned to a meat diet. And we've it's not so much the way we've evolved, but it's more to do with the bacteria and things that we have in our gut that help us with digestion, that have become so specialized now that even the slightest departure from what we are used to affects our stomach in such a way that it renders us a little bit sick and uncomfortable and gives us the runs. And you just have to see the amount of people that go traveling, and they might be eating good food, they might be drinking clean water, but the mere fact that they're changing their diet, they're changing the composition of the food and liquid that they're taking into their stomach, and their stomach can't handle it because, well, it's just us modern humans. It would take us a long time to be able to revert to being able to stomach things like that which predators eat and raw meat. So I hope that answers your question, Rafi. I'm supposed to be in Israel in February, actually. Thinking about it. I was supposed to buy a ticket last week. This week. Suddenly doesn't look like I might be able to go. My first nephew's bar mitzvah in Hod HaSharon. Look, you can see the late afternoon sun now reflecting. Let's see if we can get a nice view of it. But this huge storm that was so threatening, that is receding to the southeast, is now starting to reflect the light of the sunset. I mean, you can see how much more it has receded and dropped from clouds that were towering to 30,000 feet above us, have now receded into something way in the distance that, if we're lucky and there's distant thunderstorms tonight, it's the closest we'll get. So we've done Central Road, jumping subject to subject. Done Central Road back to Gari Katla, and we're going to go, while it's still a little bit light, go back to our friend Induna. Mostly because with this wind there's nothing else moving around at all. Give me that toy. You just got a Skype message, Tara. Hello, Debbie. I heard the Skype message come in when Tara was talking to me on the radio. Debbie wants to know, do leopards instinctively know how big their prey needs to be to get it up a tree? Very much so, Debbie. I mean, a lot of it is trial and error, and a lot of it comes from the way leopards grow up learning about what they can hunt and what they can't. And we saw a perfect example of it some time ago when Shavinzi found herself that monitor lizard. I can almost picture the scenario, lying in that little drainage line west of the open area, and she heard something rustling in the grass, and she went into hunt mode. I mean, it's like it triggers the brain, and the brain goes into hunt mode, and nothing else really matters. And she caught this thing, and monitors do have the tendency to play possum. And then she found that she didn't have the jaw muscles and the strength to be able to get into it. So through trial and error, leopards learn the size prey that they can handle. Firstly, the size prey that they can handle and the size prey that they can kill. Again, is that good? We break up a little bit as we're going back. Through trial and error, that what size prey they can catch. And I think it's not so much that they have to learn what size prey they can take up a tree, because it all comes down to what size prey that they can successfully kill, subdue, and, well, kill. And normally, it's nature. You can't really make statements that it's going to happen for everyone. But normally, if a leopard kills it, because of the size and the slight build of a leopard, if a leopard can kill the animal, theoretically it should be able to take it up a tree. Theoretically, not always. But it's something that only happens through trial and error. I'm just going to see any station with that Ingwe on Caracat line. Yeah, who's that? Okay, can I join you there? That Elvis. Hey, where you been? Hey, nice to hear you, Info. Haven't seen Elvis for a while. Screen. I've never been able to do that call. Oops. Making so much noise coming in here. Hardly as much noise as the wind though. They are busier. Hello. Very good, and you? How's it, Elvis? I haven't seen you before. Oh, good. It's been a long time. Lovely. On the termite mound. Where's the... Oh, the Nyama's just there. This is the one that found it this morning. Becky. No, he was actually... He was at the base of that knobthorn with... He must have just... Or... recently killed it, because there was still quite a bit left. And then he dragged it under that quarry over there and covered it up and slept most of the day. And it was only at about 4 that he brought it here to start feeding it on again. Have you got a clear shot? We're going to go forward.
You can go forward.
Okay. No. We can see over your bonnet. Yeah. Yeah. Can you brighten it up a bit? Maybe up the gain. That should be good. Okay. Sitting on a termite mound. We've had some really incredible times with him. Since I've last seen you. Not long ago we had him on a Nyala kill just down here in the drainage with his father. Him and Yambilu Yodan in the same tree. No, we've had incredible stuff. We've had him with Karula and her 2 new cubs up on Triple M, where where the young female that came and touched noses with him. We've had times with him and Karula and the cubs and the father in one place. Just recently we had, well, not him, but we had the grandfather, Karula's father, with the cubs at Treehouse Dam. Mafufanya. No, they aren't. No. The behavior of the leopards that we're seeing isn't written anywhere. It doesn't happen. It is seeing multiple generations of leopard on one sighting, up to 5 leopards on one sighting with father, mother, cubs and him. And they get along. They don't growl, they don't snarl. No, well, no, we can't. No, not. I wouldn't say competition. Juma, yes. I mean, there are professional photographers that come to Juma, and they go out on the drive. But as far as we're concerned, as a somewhat separate entity, we've been documenting it only because we broadcast it live, and there's so many people around the world, even right now, that are watching and listening to me, that have been following these cats for so many years, for 12 years now. That are noticing this kind of thing. But it does need documenting. A paper does need to be written on this. Yeah. Yeah. I actually haven't seen Lex for a while. He hasn't been here guiding for a while. Yeah. I know, I've been there. Quite a few t-shirts. Pardon? I have no doubt. This is one big t-shirt. But yeah, I spent a number of years in Tanzania and Kenya as well, and truly remarkable part of the world. Incomparable. You can't compare wildlife areas, and yeah. Home for me is the Timbavati. It's a little patch of Mapani felt up in northern Timbavati, Umbabat, where I grew up. And despite seeing places like the Okavango and Kenya and Tanzania and Zambia, and there's always home. I think you must feel that at Jacobin. And you can visit places, but you've always got that one little spot that is closest to your heart. Doesn't matter what the wildlife is elsewhere. In the northeastern part along the Kruger boundary, just south of the Olifants River, yes. But where I am, I'm sandwiched between two very big share block systems. I've got Ingulala on one side and I've got Nsiri on the other side. So there are times of the year where it's very spoilt. No, they don't have. It's called Mansamvula. Tiny little piece of, yes, my little heaven. It's hard for me to allow 200 Land Rovers to come onto our property when there's just 5 or 6 of us to go there. Another name. Oh yes, no, I do know. I know who you're talking about. I don't know him as well as I know Lex. Yeah. Your son. Yeah. Quite a diverse habitat type, yeah. He is, but the clan might come along soon, or what? Somebody. They're going to be waking up soon, and this smell has been wafting over the bushveld all day. So there's a good chance that maybe someone from he's just heard something. There's something moving around. The other thing is that he's also right in the middle of where his father often makes kills. Your Don often has kills in the drainage line, and this is it. So I mean, it looks like it is something at the back there that it's just attracted his attention. Could be the wind. Yeah. He is fat. He's bloated. Can you see something? Something caught his attention. It could be wind. He has shown a little bit of nerve. Everything's a bit nervous in this wind. Quite a few. No woodlands kingfishers yet. Have you seen woodlands yet? You should get a nicer view of him if you go forward a little bit. Well, I'm kind of combining it with talking to you. Everybody's hearing what I'm saying anyway. But yeah, I would comment if anything happened. Okay. Take care. See you soon. Can you get through there, Albert? Can you hear my teeth chattering? Any what has been found? Any reports on Mishu? Hello, Walter. Guten Abend. Walter in Germany. Any reports on Mishu? I was actually speaking to, I think it was, I'm confused now whether it was Ryan at Arethusa or Tristan from Chitwa Chitwa. I think it was Tristan, saying that it seems that Mishu is marking his territory and calling and seeming to be a little bit more of a dominant force down south of Chitwa Chitwa, sort of on the Mala Mala boundary. It looks like Mishu's finding himself a little niche down there, which accounts for the fact that we haven't seen much of him up here. Okay, I'm going to move now that Elvis is gone from Jacobin Camp. Look at this. This acacia that I was trying to avoid all afternoon has been flattened.
Are you moving into staying with him?
We're going to stay with him, but I'm going to point the Land Rover more towards him so that I can, because we've just got this little gap, but I want to point the Land Rover more towards him, and as it gets dark, we can at least get the light on him a little bit, or get some light on it all. But to be honest, really, with this wind and the way the weather is, it's actually turning quite chilly. I wasn't joking when I said, can you hear my teeth chattering? Teeth, you know what I mean, teeth chattering. Can you see, got a clear view?
Yeah.
And it's getting rather chilly. Oh. Couldn't hear much there. Oh, wait a minute. The emergency blanket that we found on the road the other day that hasn't been claimed. Well, it's mine now. Hello, Danielle in Netherlands. Do I know it's Induna? Do I recognize him? Yes. A number of features that helped tell me that it is Induna. Even though, I have to admit, when I first saw him this morning, well, what I must tell you, in case you weren't with us on the drive this morning, what we were doing is we were driving up Gary Cutline towards Buffelshoek Cutline from Central Road, and I had a book open. I was reading about, I think it was my Raptor book, and I was trying to find some more information on the different color phases of the Wahlberg's eagle. So I had this book open on my steering wheel, and it was, well, and Becky suddenly said, "Oh, leopard!" And as Becky saw the leopard, he was standing behind some bushes at the base of this big knobthorn behind us. I couldn't see I couldn't see much of him at all. I could just see some spots through the bushes. And just based on where he was, I suddenly thought, oh, it must be Jordan, the father of these leopards. But of course, soon realized, and what made me realize it was him was, first of all, his size, second of all, his nose, and then I saw had a good look at his tail, and then when I finally saw his face and his head, he has facial markings that are, well, just Danielle, like all leopards, every single leopard has a different face, and the markings on the face, and it doesn't matter whether it's the markings above the eyes, or the forehead, or between the ears, or the whiskers, or the chin. Doesn't matter where it is on a leopard. The markings of every single animal are different, and when you get to see an individual over a lengthy period of time, you get to recognize them. Having said that, I have misidentified him in the past. Having said that, there have been times that I've been a little bit confused, but that is because it's been out of context. He hasn't been around for a while, and suddenly I see a leopard and I think of the leopards that I'd seen in the last week or two, and it takes a while for me to suddenly realize, oh wait, this is Induna, he's come back and he hasn't been around for a month or so. But there are distinctive markings on each of the leopards that we take note of. We each have our own little patch on a leopard that we look at. I mean, the way he's lying now with that distended stomach of his, I mean, it looks like he's about to burst. I'm surprised he's not on his back. He should be so uncomfortable. I mean, look how fat he is. But you could take any one of those, or you could take the whole look of his tummy and those spots that are almost in a parallel line. No other leopard will have that configuration of spots. So it's easy.
A big blob on his on his face, where his mouth is.
Becky says he's got a big blob on his face where his mouth is. That's how you see him.
Yeah.
So we each see different things.
Like on his lip, where like here.
Oh, there, yeah, where his jowls are, where his the corner of his mouth is. Got a big dark spot there, dark mark there. The thing is that I could point out, not now, obviously, it's starting to get dark. Picture's probably getting darker, and I need to put the light on soon. Obviously now's not a good time to point it out, but I could point out markings to you on a leopard. But your brain might register something completely different as to what it makes a particular leopard that leopard. It might just be one spot above the eye. It might be a sequence of spots on the face. Different things provide different clues to different people. Once again, he's looking up that side. Something there, young man. Is that better? Just bouncing the light off of some of these bushes onto him rather than putting it directly on him. Sun has set, Venus is already visible. In fact, not very far up above Induna, up to the left of him. And there's almost no cloud in the sky whatsoever. I'm expecting the wind might even drop. Might. No. One, two. Hello, Holly in Texas. Greetings. And also Southern California. Was it Mary, Tara? Mary in Southern California? Once asking a similar question. Whether he would kill something else if the opportunity arose, despite still having this kill. Very much so. I mean, this is the norm when it comes to this kind of predator. If the opportunity presents itself, they will do so. And what aids them in preserving their kill is the ability for them to take, or their ability to take their kills up a tree. Lion, a lot of predators will take the opportunity if it presents itself, but not many of them are able to protect their kills from predation from other predators. So a leopard, although he hasn't proven to be very good at it, leopards tend to take their kills up a tree. And it's not unusual for a leopard to take a kill up a tree and feed on it, and then be doing something else and be presented with the opportunity to kill again without expending too much energy, killing that, taking it up a tree and going back to the first kill and then coming back to the second kill. I think there was a time some time ago when Karula had multiple kills in a tree, in different trees. So for leopard, perhaps more so than any of the other predators. The thing with lion, and I've seen it with lion, but lion won't ever go back to the previous kill the same way as a leopard would go back to a previous kill. I've seen lion that were on a kill and an opportunity presented itself, and then they go off and kill something else, and then they just move on from there, and they leave carcasses. They leave carcasses unfinished for other scavengers and other predators to come along. I think leopard are the only ones that might go back to the original one and feed. But that is the lot of a predator. You never know when your next meal is coming from, and you have to expend a lot of energy to get your meal. So when the opportunity presents itself... Am I talking too loud? Did I wake you up? So when the opportunity presents itself, they take it. Most certainly. Well, I think it's time to leave him be. Getting dark. The way that... Hello, Holly in Florida, just before I leave. Seems temperatures are changing, hot in the day, cold at night. No, Holly, not at all. Today is an exception. Last night, I would say that and I'm sure Becky will back me up on this, but I reckon that our temperatures last night, running into 8-9 o'clock last night, were probably as hot as they were at about 4-5 o'clock in the afternoon. Am I right? Yeah. I mean, it was before that storm broke last night. It was so hot and close, and just you couldn't move with the heat last night. So no, not really, Holly. Tonight it's different. For some reason, we have a really cold wind that is picked up right now. I mean, it's the same wind that was blowing earlier, that was blowing quite warm, but all of a sudden it's a really chilly wind, and pretty strong too. I thought maybe since we're now going into nightfall that the wind would drop, but it isn't, not at all. There isn't a cloud in the sky, but then at sunset last night there wasn't a cloud in the sky either, and then by 8 o'clock it was completely overcast, and by 9 o'clock there were signs of lightning, and then that storm broke, and well, it was like all hell broke loose with thunder and lightning and hail, and be interesting to know what you managed to see from the waterhole cam with the oncoming storm last night. But it was quite something else. But no, quite typically this time of the year, evenings are warm. I shouldn't really have to put anything on. I'm sitting here with a short sleeve shirt and a pullover, and I got a blanket wrapped over my legs, and I could do with something. No change, Tech. I'm still with Ingwe. I'm about to leave him. Static, same lock.
Okay, cool. Thanks, man.
Any station coming to Ingwe? Guess not. Unusually cold temperature for this time of the year. But this means that there's something down south, some weather phenomenon that's happened down south that's bringing this cold air up to us. Hello, Morgan. Morgan wants to know where I live. Can't understand what I'm saying. Where are you from, Morgan? I live, it's Timbavati, Timbavati. Actually, it's northern part of the Timbavati that is actually called the Umbabat. I'm going to find you. Hello, Induna. Before I go, Susan, Ellie, Sabrina, Kelly, M. Webb, Ellie, Elmarie, Susan. 121. It's not there. Maybe I've got it in some other folder. Messages. My folder. Ah, there. Ellie, Susan, Janine, Paula, Pam, Anna, Gino, there, from Gino. Okay, so you ready? Here are coordinates. This is where I live, if you want to Google Earth it. 24.147 and 31.369 puts you pretty much, actually I can give it to you a little bit more. 24.14744 and 31.36961 pretty much puts you in my kitchen. That's where I live. The Timbavati is very much like the Sabi Sand. It's a private game reserve made up of many different properties, and the northern Timbavati area is actually a separate, although it's not separate in terms of, it doesn't have any physical boundaries. It's like the difference between Buffelshoek and Djuma. The difference between what is known as the Umbabat and the northern Timbavati. No fences or anything, but it's the same area, and that's where it is, up in the Umbabat. Part of the greater Timbavati or associated private nature reserve complex that includes the Klaseri, I think Olifants, Baluli, and some others. Ooh. Wendy wants to know, we ever see leopards in Timbavati? Yes, Wendy, I do often. There was a time that I've got a big male leopard that lives around my house. I've had him kill leopard behind my kitchen. I've had him kill, did I say kill leopard? Kill impala behind my kitchen. A couple of years ago I got home and found the impala carcass in my little lookout tower. He'd dragged it up the stairs. I found a number of carcasses and skeletons from him. But yes, a number of leopard that live around there. Okay, we're going to move. Oh, gosh. You're going to hate me for putting that air conditioner on.
At least I can see
Although it's not like that air conditioner works that well. Although, can you imagine with cooler temperatures it's going to work a lot better than it does on 40-degree days. Yes, Timbavati has everything that we have. In fact, I see more wild dog up there than I see here. I see more elephant than I see up here. Lions pretty much the same. Although, come on, can you switch on lights please? There seems to be a problem with the lights. Got to treat it right. What was I saying? Yes, there's a new white lion cub that's just been seen by Motswari Chad, who's the guide at Motswari. I've known Chad for a number of years now, but Motswari is there's a lodge that is close by, and I used to work for Motswari many years ago. I used to run a little sister camp of Motswari that was called Mbali, and the family that own Motswari are very close to me. They're a wonderful family, and they're very special people, and every time I go home I do pop into Motswari to say hello to everybody. I don't know if some of you remember Alimo, who used to work for us when Sipiwe was having her baby. Alimo's brother. Oops, dropped the mic. Station's leaving lock of Ingwe, open lock. When did wind come? That didn't matter. Sorry, what was that, Tara? So much for the wind dropping when the sun goes down. What is happening here? I don't know who that is. They're trying to phone me this time of day when they know I'm live. Okay. Oh, that might be my doctor. Sure, I'm waiting for his call. Anyways, see you later. What's up?
Huh?
Are you okay?
Yeah. Oh.
Here's one this blanket. Okay, so I was just saying that Alima, who used to be here looking after the waterhole cam during the day when Sipiwe was having a baby, her brother works at Motswari, and I especially go and visit him. Not because he runs the bar or anything, but just because he's a really nice guy. Got great kids. But Motswari has just released a blog to say that they found a new white lion cub, and I can't wait actually to get home because I'd like to see this new little one. And if there's well, it's the same pride of lion that come through my place that will be at Motswari because it's their territory. So I'm looking forward to that. And I suppose one saving grace of what's happening to us right now is that I get to go home for the summer. And I will be visiting Motswari on a regular basis in order to connect to the internet and hopefully still keep in touch with everybody, because we're likely to lose touch. Yes. Let's not think of sad things. Deb! Hello Deb in Connecticut. Deb was asking a question that concerned porcupines. Ooh. What are the predators of porcupines? Not many, Dave, not many. Because any predator that does manage to, or rather any predator that develops a penchant for porcupines has got to learn how to kill them. And it's no easy task getting to a porcupine. But I would say the main predator of a porcupine would be a leopard. And leopards have to learn, as I say, they have to learn how to get to a porcupine, because you can't just catch them the way you catch an impala or something. Otherwise you get a paw and a face and a neck full of quills. And I don't know how many times in my lifetime I've seen lion with porcupine quills all up their legs, in their chest, in their neck, in their face, through their cheeks. And I know, having been jabbed by porcupine quills, I know how painful it is just to be jabbed by one. I can't imagine having porcupine quills stuck all over your body from trying to catch a really tasty animal and not knowing how to do it and getting quills all over your body. They pull them out and they get a little septic and they fall out. But it's a lesson that any cat learns, or most cats learn. And the cats that learn how to kill the porcupines are the ones that become porcupine specialists. And those that I've seen, the leopards that I've seen that have learned how to kill porcupines, they manage to get to the porcupine where they can stop it from running head first into a bush so that only the quills are sticking out. They actually face the porcupine, they keep in front of the porcupine, and they get to this point where they can actually whack it on the face, on the nose. They hit it on the snout with such a blow that it renders it unconscious, and then they can get underneath the porcupine to the softer parts in the stomach, and that's where they start eating at the porcupine. And our porcupines, I have to be honest with you, some of them, they're not small. Some of our porcupines are pretty big. They're a lot bigger than your North American porcupines. Their quills are a lot longer and sharper, and they're quite a formidable prey item to tackle. I'm willing to bet we find Induna here tomorrow morning. Tara, spillway up there, or I'm pretty sure that for any of you who are going to be zooming tonight, I reckon you're going to see our friend Induna coming down to the dam later. My 2 cents worth. Herod. Well, hi Rafi. Interesting to hear about your comments. Are you talking about the Sinai Desert, perhaps? Anyways, Rafi's talking about leopards that are an endangered subspecies, perhaps. They're the Middle Eastern leopards that you do find in Israel. They do occur there. But Rafi was saying that they do eat porcupines, and I guess my little speech right now pretty much explained to you how it is that they managed to get to the porcupine. Water bucket there, you see their eyes. Who's that? Sorry? Wren. To know that name. What do porcupines eat? They are predominantly bulbs and tubers and a lot of the root stocks of plants. They eat bark. In fact, you sometimes find trees that are ring barked by porcupines, and it's quite bad because they can kill a tree. And funny enough, one of the trees that I've seen that porcupines chew on are tambutis. And tambutis are quite toxic to us humans. That's quite interesting to know that they do eat the bark of the tambuti. So they eat bark. I wouldn't be surprised if they eat a fair amount of leaf and grass and stuff. But they eat a lot of tubers and roots of plants, and you often find porcupine diggings where there's a good population of porcupines. They eat a lot more of the subterranean parts of the plants than they do the above ground parts of the plants. What else was part of that question? What do they eat and what else? Oh, that was it. But having said that, when you find a porcupine burrow, and a porcupine burrow that has been occupied by a porcupine for any length of time, you'll actually find a lot of bone fragments and a lot of bits of bone around a porcupine den, because porcupines will chew on bone quite a lot. And I don't know whether it is only for its calcium value or whether it's for a another nutritional value, or whether they do actually nibble on bits of dried meat on the bone, which would render them perhaps a little bit more omnivorous than purely herbivorous. But it is not unusual for rodents, which porcupines are, it's not unusual for rodents to take in a bit of protein every now and then. Deb and Joanne. Birthday girls. Happy birthday, ladies. Didn't come up on my Facebook. But happy birthday. I hope you've had a wonderful day. Happy birthday. And I hope you're going to have a wonderful day the rest of your day. I hope somebody's doing something special for you tonight. Happy birthday. We're just going to get up onto the open area. Quite uncanny, actually. The batteries aren't beeping anymore. And I know why the car's battery is doing fine, because I made sure of that. But it's interesting to note that we're not getting beeping from the batteries at the back anymore. And there we were panicking that we're going to have to buy a new set of batteries. And all of that is now a moot point. And it just... Ooh. And only 2 days ago they were issuing heat wave warnings. Yeah, right. I guess that was after we had the heat wave. They were issuing a heat wave warning. Okay, time's up. But I'm not saying goodbye yet. I want to just cross the open area first. Just in case we get something like a nocturnal animal. I just seen a scrub hare, but I don't want to stop for a scrub hare right now. I want to just see if we can find another nocturnal animal creeping around the open area before we get home. Lots of impala here and zebra amongst the impala. I'm not going to shine the light on them. They're probably all quite nervous, especially the new little babies that are lying down, trying to hide from the wind. But it's the safest place for them out here in the open. Not so much noise to distract them and give them false starts. Allows them the opportunity to see things coming from a distance. The moon will be a little bit late. We're almost, I think, at last quarter. Oh, we're halfway there. And until the moon rises, it's going to be a dark night. I will always remember this termite mound with that little boy of the kahumas sitting there looking the other way. I've got a photograph of that. Every time I see that termite mound, I picture that day when the kahumas were here with those little cubs, the 6 little cubs that we haven't seen since. That was what? It was in May or something. I haven't seen them since then. And that little male cub that was sitting on that termite mound. I'll never forget that. Much like there are many memories and moments that I've had in my past that I shall not forget. And I guess most importantly, the last 3 years has been a huge moment in my life that I will not forget. And all the people that came along with it. Anyways, time for me to say good night. Sadly, goodbye. Talk to you from FC tomorrow morning. Tara will be where I am. I think Becky will be in the same place. I hope that the weather will be kind to us. How's that? Good? Hmm? No?
To the right.
I'll close the iris.
No, it's the reflection on the lens.
Okay. Shutter speed. Anyway, that should be good. Bouncing light. You don't really need to see me. You've seen me often enough. Wind is howling. I'm going to be tucked in bed, not very far on from now. I'm going to have some food and I'm going to bed. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful week. Some of you only starting your Monday. We've fortunately been through our Monday. It's been one of those Mondays that was really a Monday. Because normally our Mondays are just normal fun days. But today was a Monday that was a real Monday. I'm trying to think of who sang that song back in the 70s. I don't like Mondays. I'll think of it. Anyway, my name is Mark. Becky's been on camera. Tara's been in FC. This has been Djuma Live Drive, our PM Safari here at Djuma Game Reserve. Thank you for joining us. And do join us again tomorrow, 5:30 Central African time for our next drive. Bye-bye.
Hi everybody, this is Tara in Final Control, and thank you very much for joining us here at Djuma Live Safaris. So hopefully we'll have some nice clear weather tomorrow morning, or at least a nice pleasant temperature morning, and hopefully there'll be a lot out. So keep your fingers crossed. I will check up on Induna, see if he's around, and see what else we can go and find tomorrow morning. So take care wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.